Magic is often described as precise, only works within 50 feet, requires these ingredients, only possible with that wand movement. But the most exciting and engaging magic systems aren't perfect tools. They're primal forces with minds of their own. Because unreliable magic creates more dynamic and dramatic worlds, and they can be super fun to explore. Have you ever read a fantasy novel or played a game where casting a spell felt as routine as sending a text message or turning on your car? Too often, magic functions like technology with a fantasy skin. Fireball spell, as reliable as your air fryer. Healing potion, predictable results. But real-world technology took centuries to become reliable. Why would magic, a power that literally defies the laws of physics, be less chaotic and dangerous than electricity? I'm Janet from World Anvil, a world-building consultant, published author, and game writer. Today, I'm advocating for chaos! No, not really. But I am going to show you how making magic systems less reliable can add tension, realism, and wonder to your worlds. So we're going to explore the pros and cons of hard versus soft magic systems, how unreliable magic makes a world more wondrous, and adventuring a riskier business. Some great examples of unpredictable magic from books, TV, and movies, and of course, as always, practical tips to make your world's magic a little bit wilder. Bring on the chaos! So why does magic in so many fantasy stories work as reliably as a smartphone app? Well, mainly because it's convenient for the storyteller. When magic follows strict rules, it's kind of easier to plan your plot around it. And when you're running RPGs, reliable magic can be easier for beginner players. Just insert spell A into slot B. But this convenience comes at a cost. Magic loses its sense of mystery and wonder. Think about real-world phenomena that inspired magical thinking. Weather, illness, crop yields, and even human emotion. None of these are perfectly predictable. Real magic would likely have similar uncertainties. Magic system reliability exists on a spectrum, and at one extreme you have perfectly reliable systems where spells always work exactly as intended. Essentially, it's I can't believe it's not technology. At the other end, you have completely chaotic magic, based on vibes and sometimes with a dose of deus ex machina. Generally, in my opinion, the best magic systems exist somewhere in the middle. They need to be understandable enough that players and readers can follow along, but unpredictable enough to maintain some tension and wonder. This balance creates a world where magic feels like a natural force rather than a tool, something to be respected and not used without risk. Which actually kind of takes me back to the triangle of power theory of balancing magic, so go check out that video if you haven't already. But which approach is right for you? Should your magic have rulebooks or mysteries? Let's examine both approaches. Hard magic systems have clearly defined rules that both characters and the audience understand. Think about Brandon Sanderson's Allomancy in Mistborn, where ingesting and burning specific metals grants specific powers. Or magic in Dungeons & Dragons, where the mechanics are simple and known by everyone. The pros of hard magic are clear. It can be used as a problem-solving tool, it creates consistency, and it allows for satisfying resolutions where the hero cleverly uses established magical principles. However, hard magic systems come with downsides. They can feel mechanical and predictable. Not very magical at all. After all, when your fireballs are as reliable as flamethrowers, what makes them magical? Soft magic systems, on the other hand, remain mysterious and unexplained. Think Gandalf in The Lord of the Rings. We never learn the precise rules of his magic. The benefits? Soft magic maintains wonder and awe. It feels genuinely magical rather than technological. It's flexible for your plot and creates a sense of mystery in your world building. But soft magic comes with problems of its own. Without established rules, it's easy to fall into "it works because I need it to" situations. When characters face impossible situations, pulling out a never-before-mentioned power feels kind of cheap, which means that there's often a lot of foreshadowing work involved for this kind of system. And if characters can't reliably use soft magic to solve their problems, it can become more atmospheric than actually central to your protagonist's journey. This is where unreliable magic systems can shine. They take the best of both approaches. You can establish understandable systems and principles while incorporating unpredictable elements to maintain the tension and wonder. Your characters can attempt to use magic to solve a problem, but success is never guaranteed. Sure, your wizard's gonna do some kind of damage, but will it be a fireball or an ice blast? That uncertainty creates immediate tension in your storytelling. Consider a climactic battle scene where your protagonist must use a crucial spell. With perfectly reliable magic, the only question is, can they cast it before the villain stops them? But with unreliable magic, even if they cast successfully, no one knows exactly what will happen, including the reader or player. That uncertainty keeps people engaged. Unreliable magic also drives character development. When characters can't depend entirely on magic, they must develop backup plans, alternative skills, and creative thinking. A wizard who knows their teleportation spell might send them miles in the wrong direction will develop excellent geography skills and emergency survival techniques. And it's not just character development. Plot complications also arise naturally from unreliable magic. That healing spell might also cause temporary amnesia, or nausea, or affect balance. Who knows? There's a chance that protection charm might make the user irresistible to nearby magical creatures. Oops. These aren't contrived obstacles. They're natural consequences of working with unpredictable forces. For documenting these variations and side effects, World Anvil's spell template is perfect. You can note the intended effect, the potential backfires, and circumstances that affect reliability, creating a rich magic system that feels cohesive despite its unpredictability. You can even add roll tables of chaotic effects to help you randomize as you write or play. Most importantly, unreliable magic feels more realistic. Real-world skills, from cooking to medicine to engineering, all have elements of unpredictability. By introducing similar variability to your magic system, you create a world that feels less designed and more natural and organic. And it's not just me that likes unreliable magic systems. Let's take a look at how the masters create magic systems with built-in unpredictability. In Marvel Comics, the Scarlet Witch practices chaos magic. Early versions of the character had weak control over hexes, so the result could be funny, deadly, or anything in between. This provided a path for character growth, as she both gained mastery of her abilities and took responsibility for her mistakes and misfires. In Avatar: The Last Airbender, bending abilities are tied to emotional states. Aang's airbending becomes erratic when he's upset, and Zuko's firebending changes when he loses his anger and finds inner peace. This connection between emotion and magical reliability creates natural character arcs. To master their magic, characters must master themselves. Dungeons & Dragons: Honor Among Thieves gives us Simon the Sorcerer, possibly the perfect example of unreliable magic done right. As a charisma-based spellcaster, Simon's magic is tied directly to his self-confidence. Early in the film, his spells frequently backfire or manifest in unpredictable ways, but this unreliability isn't just comedic effect. It's a brilliant externalization of his character arc. Drop a comment with your favorite example of magic gone wrong, from your own stories and games, or from something you've seen. I'd love to build up a catalogue of crazy chaos ideas in the comments. Because what all of these examples teach us is crucial. Even with established rules, building in elements of unpredictability creates more compelling stories. Characters must respect magic rather than simply use it, leading to more thoughtful world building and more exciting stories. So if you're ready to make magic more than just fantasy technology, I've got your back with 5 techniques to introduce compelling unpredictability. First, consider variable costs. Perhaps casting the same spell requires different amounts of energy depending on the moon phases, distance from ley lines, or the character's emotional state. This creates strategic decisions about when and where to use magic. Environmental factors can dramatically affect magical outcomes. A lightning bolt cast near the ocean might also bring a torrential downpour. The same spell in a desert could create a static discharge of sparks when characters touch metal. These interactions make your world feel interconnected rather than built of separate systems. The caster's physical and emotional state is a classic way to introduce unpredictability. Magic that works differently when you're angry, injured, or sleep-deprived creates natural limitations and encourages characters to develop self-awareness. It also reminds the audience that the characters aren't perfect, which often makes them more likable. And don't underestimate the storytelling power of random elements. Perhaps certain spells have a 10% chance of an amplified effect, or rare magical surges affect all spellcasting in an area. These chaotic elements create memorable moments that break patterns in satisfying ways. Think the Wabberjack staff in the Elder Scrolls universe, and then some. Finally, consider magic that changes over time. Perhaps spells grow stronger with repeated use, or magic itself waxes and wanes over generations. This creates a dynamic dynamic feeling to your world. Magic isn't a static system, but an evolving force. You can build these events into history too. For example, an event in your world history where magic misfired spectacularly. Use World Anvil's historical event templates to track that, or our Bloodlines feature to trace the rise and fall of magical dynasties. Depth like this not only makes your world feel more authentic and lived in, it establishes precedent for why characters treat magic with a healthy respect. Whether you're running a role-playing game or writing a fantasy novel, consider how making your magic less reliable might actually make your story more compelling. Give your characters powerful tools, but make using them a decision that carries weight and uncertainty. Because the most memorable fantasy worlds aren't those where magic is mechanical, but where magic feels like a force of nature. Powerful, useful, but never completely under control. By introducing elements of unpredictability, you create tension, realism, and wonder in your world, which feels very magical to me. If you got this far, you'll love our video on the triangle of power and how to keep your magic and technology from breaking your world. To balance your magical forces, tech developments, and any other character capability or superpowers, click the thumbnail to watch that next. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more practical world building videos, tips, and everything else. Now grab your hammer and go world build.